that matter, and they really fucking matter. There's like 4 things that matter, and they really fucking matter. I mean, objectively, I mean, you should care, especially you, if you thought about it for 5 fucking minutes.
Welcome to episode 93 of the Out of Voices podcast. We are your hosts, Keem, Esme, and Ari.
Yay!
Yeah.
Welcome back, everyone. I know it has been a while, but there's been a lot of change in the world of the Out of Voices podcast. We are now recording over 3 motherfucking time zones.
It's true.
Oh my God.
For those of you who are missing out, I in the last 2 weeks have relocated to Denver, Colorado. So that's a thing that exists now in my life. Denver is weird. It is definitely different from Memphis. I kind of like it though.
Well, I wouldn't. I've heard good things about Denver. Maybe I'll get to go one day if I wasn't a broke bastard. But yeah, we are now. We're damn near coast to coast podcast now. So. But we are here, and the world is in chaos, as always. But it is Pride Month, so there's some good things to be happy about. With it being Pride Month, you know, good that people are able to express themselves and feel happy in themselves. And we're going to talk a little bit more about Pride Month in our topic segment. But before we get into that, how about we talk about some news that not related to Pride. Sound like a plan?
That sounds like a something.
Well, we'll go with it's a plan.
Because a plan is a something, and a something could be a plan.
I'll start first. This is it's fucked up because hey, the news is fucked up. But mine is a global thing. This is coming out of Uganda, which is going through its own issues right now. But in Uganda, the people are calling for a Virginian missionary to be prosecuted. Missionary Renee Bach to be prosecuted because she represented the organization that she started as a treatment facility and represented herself as a doctor, removing children from local hospitals to treat at her organization, leading to the deaths of over 100 children.
Yeah, I heard about this.
Wow.
So the official statement from the organization that she runs, the Serving His Children, they claim that their founder never presented herself as a medical professional or experimented or caused the death of any children. She has been trained to start IVs, and that's what she was doing. But according to the people of the family of the children she treated, she wore a white lab coat, and performed multiple different medical procedures on their children, leading to their death.
Yeah.
The complainants are asking the High Court of Uganda to shut down her organization for violating their right to access adequate treatment because she was taking these children from hospitals. The right to health of the children, the right to life, the right to be free from discrimination on the basis of race and socioeconomic standing, and the right to dignity, freedom from torture, inhuman, and degrading treatment. Another group called No White Saviors has been a big force behind pushing the awareness of this organization and the horrible things this woman has caused, because she went to Uganda and using all the white Virginian white privilege she has to pose as a doctor and kill Ugandan children
Yeah.
under the guise of some religious bullshit treatment, and that she knows better because she's an American. She's a white American.
Yeah, she's an American and has grown up in the best medical system that the world has to offer. And what can the Ugandan people possibly provide that is better than what an untrained American can do?
Right.
Jesus.
Yeah. So yeah, that's all the fuck awful. This is why I always say, can't fuck. Like, I don't fuck with missionaries. Like, I'm not down for it. Like, I don't fuck with this white savior bullshit.
Yeah, I like the name of that organization. No white saviors.
Yeah.
Like, fuck all that shit.
Currently, Renee Bach, her whereabouts are unavailable, and she didn't show up for a court date.
Hmm. So sounds like she realized she fucked up, and she's trying to not be anywhere near the people who know she fucked up.
I wonder how that's
So-
gonna work for her.
Yeah.
She will get no punishment. She's gonna come back to the United States, and nothing's going to happen to her.
Yeah.
And she's going. It's like a murderer is going to go free, and she's going to feel like she's in the right, or even worse, she's going to feel like she's the victim because I was only trying to help these poor children. It's not my fault that they died.
Maybe don't pull them out of hospitals where they're getting like real treatment from real doctors.
But they just black African doctors. They ain't real doctors.
Isn't medical knowledge of all things one of the main ones that's shared globally?
Yeah, and
One of the main like disciplines where everything's like really shared globally.
not to mention that, like, modern surgery has its roots in Africa.
Damn. So they were cutting people up before we were.
Well, like thousands of years before.
Yeah.
Thousands of years before. But no, they don't know what they're doing. Obviously, untrained missionary who can literally just do IVs. Obviously, I know better.
Yeah.
For fuck's sake.
I have the art of putting fluids in your veins. There's no way your Ugandan doctors can do that.
Jesus Christ. And like, what gets me extra is Uganda has its own problem. Uganda's government is fucked up. And it's fucked up due to interference from American missionaries. Like, they have infected like American conservative beliefs, especially when it comes to homosexuality and stuff. They have infected their government with some really, really horrible beliefs and practices that has caused that government to be extremely oppressive, and also supported by these missionaries and missionary groups.
Mm-hmm.
So not only are things already messed up going on, but they're messed up and caused by these people, but these people are still doing shit and hurting even more people.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Come on, white people. Stand your, like, word. This is going to be the theme of the episode. Motherfuckers, stay in your lane.
Basically.
Mind your own damn business.
And if your lane is, or And if your lane does not involve you having received a medical degree and having kept your medical knowledge up to date and all that business, maybe don't try to get in the lane where there's sick children who need a doctor.
Fucking Christ. So that's the end of my story. Do you want to go locally?
Yeah, so it's funny to say locally because I don't actually live in Memphis anymore, but also like 95% of what happens on my Facebook page is still very Memphis.
You may be in Denver and from Montana, but you're a Memphian through and
No,
through.
I feel, yeah, I feel like I can say that I'm from Memphis. Anyway, not the point. The point is um, that earlier this week, really surprising no one, another young black man was shot and killed by law enforcement officers in Memphis. This time in Fraser, which is in North Memphis, which is
It has a bad
it
reputation.
does have a very bad reputation. That's one of the parts of Memphis that people are talking about when they say that Memphis is so dangerous. And it has that reputation for a reason. There's a lot of gang activity in that neighborhood. There's a lot of poverty in that neighborhood. There's a lot of really desperate, frustrated people living in that neighborhood. But this incident was a young man, Brandon Weber, was shot 20 times by U.S. Marshals who were looking for him. He had a warrant out for an incident that happened in Mississippi, and they were looking for him. And over the course of what happened, which is what actually happened, how this actually went down, is still kind of up in the air because apparently either the marshals had no body cameras on them, or that footage has not yet been seen by anybody who's willing to talk about it. So there's it's kind of a his word versus somebody else's word as to what actually happened.
Side note, Memphis seems to have a continuing issue of motherfuckers being shot with no body camera footage.
Oh, no, that is a whole thing where the Memphis Police
Mhm.
Department is supposed to have operating body cameras on at all
Right.
times when interacting with civilians, but they conveniently get turned off or are inactive or are broken, or in the case of Terrence Carlton, who I wanted to touch on very briefly, which is another black man who was shot fatally by police back in April. The body cameras were operating. It showed the body camera footage showed this man, like the officer, yelling, get on the ground, I'll kill you," to this man, who then proceeded to lay on the ground on his side. And the police officer was shouting at him to roll over on your stomach, and he rolled the other way, and the police officer shot him and killed him. And there were no charges filed, like no charges against the police officer.
Of course.
Even though his body camera clearly showed him firing on an unarmed man. This guy had a cell phone in his hand, right? And it clearly shows that it's a cell phone in his hand, firing on a man who's laying on the ground with a cell phone in his hand.
Yeah.
Like, and no charges. There will be no charges against this officer.
Not even like any leave or.
I haven't looked that closely into it. I know that
Yeah.
the family is filing a lawful or a wrongful death lawsuit against the city after the DA decided there will be no charges against this off. Anyway, but yeah, so getting back to Brandon Weber, though, which there's more and more information coming out. Apparently, the warrant that was out was for armed robbery. This is still an ongoing investigation. There's more information coming out every day about it. But I just want to point out, so even though the latest report says that he got out, like Brandon Weber got out of the car holding a gun, that is not an excuse for him to be shot 20 times by U.S. Marshals and him being denied his right to due process. When
Yeah.
we see time and again that law enforcement officers are fully capable of de-escalating and de-arming people who are holding weapons, even people who are pointing weapons at the police, which reportedly Brandon Weber was not. He was just holding the gun in his hand when he got out of the car. Like, using the fact that he had a weapon as an excuse it's racism. It is, because we see over and over again that police bring in white perpetrators who have weapons and do not have, or like white people who have weapons and do not have a problem de-escalating and bringing them in without shots fired.
Also, I mean, just to be real, there is never any reason to shoot someone 20 times.
Yeah. Yeah, that's excessive. No matter what the circumstances, that is very excessive.
Right. Like that's the definition of excessive.
Yeah.
Like,
So that's my thing, right? Like, this is still an ongoing thing. I have not done every bit of research and analyzed exactly what went on in this situation. I don't know. We don't have body camera footage, so nobody except the officers who were there knows exactly what happened. And even then,
and I mean, even the warrant and charges that were being like levied, there is speculation on whether those were even accurate or not.
yeah,
Because there was some talk of the like eyewitnesses saying with the original charge, the original warrants, that someone else had done it and they had ID'd other people, this and that. So, but either way, also and I don't know if you guys knew this part, but you know, the police and U.S. Marshals clashed with protesters, right?
oh yeah,
Which there was a whole thing because who's your girl? Oh God, everyone's favorite, Marsha Blackburn, put out this whole thing to the police and U.S. Marshals for keeping the peace from violent protesters and this and that.
yeah.
Oh,
Like,
no, fucking
Yeah, of course she
Strickland,
did.
Mayor Strickland, put out a statement, detailing the loss of property that happened, right? That the protesters tore down a wall and broke the windows of the police car and broke the windows at the fire station and blah, 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 whatever. Did not a single time in that statement mention the name of the man who had been killed, who was the reason for the protest in the first place. But then proceeded to talk about the incredible restraint that was shown by the Memphis police officers in response to the violent riot. Of course, they called it a riot. Violent riot that happened after this shooting. These are the same Memphis Police Department who showed up in riot gear. Like, it was a protest. Like, it was a rally until the police showed up with riot gear.
Yeah.
So this shit, I do feel conflicted even that I'm not even in Memphis, because shit's going down in Memphis, guys.
oh my God, it's just another situation. Like another situation of things that once again just keep happening.
Yeah.
And like I said, even if this dude was like guilty or whatever, there's no reason to shoot someone 20 times.
Yeah.
Justice is not served in any manner with that. It's not. That's just, you just killed someone.
But yeah, no, like the thing that happened here, whether like it doesn't matter what his warrant was for. It doesn't matter if he did it. It doesn't matter if he did worse than that in his life. He still has a constitutional right to due process, which was denied him by the U.S. Marshals when they came in and shot him an excessive number of times when when they could have very well, with even a little bit of effort, they could have de-escalated the situation. Or they should have tried, at least, to de-escalate the situation. The only reason, in my opinion, the only reason that an officer of the law should ever fire a shot is if they are fired on first. Honestly. Like,
also, if you fire, at least in my opinion, this is what I was taught growing up that officers were supposed to do, was you shoot to injure.
Yeah.
Because you're supposed to bring someone in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they have a constitutional right to due process.
Yeah. Instead of just extrajudicial death.
So that's what's happening in Memphis right now. We will probably touch on this again if there are any additional updates in the case.
Something tells me it's far from over.
Oh, it's definitely far from over.
All right, I guess with that, we are going to move on into our topic segment after some music. Enjoy.
We were drawn together like magnets. Ship sailing to the so cold, I'm stiff where I stand. Every time I catch glance, your eyes never get old. Not even when cold and cold. Boy, how should we run? Your hands are the softest I have felt. No other hands I want on my shirtless though, 'cause you're the only one I want. Nobody else makes me feel this way, 'cause you're the only one I want. Nobody else makes me feel this way, 'cause you're the only one I want. Nobody else makes me feel this way. 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 Nobody else. When I think of you, I think of the world, 'cause I don't want no other girl. Without you in it, then show me the dirt, 'cause you showed me so much worth. You helped me grow as an individual, blocked out the past, healed the residual. You're a badass babe, gotta admit it, but I never wanna fuck with you though, 'cause you're already a queen who just needs a king to lead you through this life. Despite all this bullshit, I'd be there to fit your crown and make you my wife. Nobody else makes me feel this way. 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 Nobody else makes me feel this way.
And we are back, everyone. Well, this topic segment, this is Pride Month. We're going to tackle some topics related to Pride. And that includes a very interesting story that popped up in our time away. Ari, you care to tell us about the happenings?
All right, so imagine this. You're a white, heterosexual, cis man, and you come up on Pride Month after not too long ago there was the Women's Month and there was Black History Month, and you're sitting here like, where is my pride? Where do I get to celebrate being normal?
Oh Lord.
Confederate History Month. Wait.
Yeah, so such thinking has led a group in Boston to organize a straight pride parade.
Boston.
Yeah. I'm reasonably certain they've gotten all the permits and everything. Allegedly, there's going to be several roads blocked off for it.
I mean, like you do for a parade.
Yeah, like, it's a legit parade. I don't really expect there to be many people showing up, honestly, but
what exactly goes on in a straight pride parade? Is that just basically rush hour traffic?
Well,
no, it's the drive-through line at the Chick-fil-A.
Wait a second.
I could maybe give you a little bit of flavor on what this straight pride parade is going to be about. But yeah, they're coming out of here with the tagline or catchphrase of "It's great to be straight." Event organizers have decided to make Brad Pitt their mascot.
No, wow. Did you hear what Brad Pitt had to say about that?
Oh no, I haven't.
He was like, no, thanks though.
And they designed a straight pride flag to represent their oppressed majority.
I don't think they know what oppressed means.
I don't think they do.
But I mean, like, you can't just touch a woman that's working for you whenever you want anymore. And like, you can't say rude things and catcall at women or else you might get fired anymore.
I repeat, I don't think they know what oppressed means.
Yeah, I know, right? But anyway, the organization that is putting together the event is called Super Happy Fun America.
That sounds not straight.
That doesn't sound straight at all.
That sounds very not straight.
They are allegedly a group which is committed to creating spaces for people of all identities.
No, I don't think they know what all means.
Great the vibrancy of the straight community. So, yeah, it's a space where everybody can occupy it, but it's specifically for embracing the vibrancy of the straight community.
I don't think they know what vibrancy means.
You mean it's a group that just does what life does regularly?
Yeah. They believe that true diversity is only possible when people of all sexual orientations are free to celebrate their lifestyles, which,
true.
Show me a straight person who is not free to celebrate their lifestyle.
Like they got one thing right. True diversity is when everyone can celebrate their lifestyle. You've been doing it forever.
Or rather, show me a straight person who is not free to celebrate their lifestyle and explain to me how it's because they're straight instead of because they're poor or because they're black or because they're not cis or...
Yeah.
Because don't you know that all non-straight celebrations and things exclude straight people specifically.
Yeah.
They're actually they're not real police, because real police are excluded because obviously real police are straight. But there are actually the gay mafia actually puts guards up that test you to see if you're straight before going to a pride event.
And how do they test you? What are we talking here? Do I got to suck a dick to go to Pride?
They test your knowledge of Lady Gaga songs.
So one of the lead organizers, vice president of Super Happy Fun America,
God,
Mark Sahadi,
that's
is
amazing.
also a member of the right-wing group Resist Marxism.
Of course they are. Of course
Yeah.
he is.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Also, if I'm not mistaken, apparently I've heard that they wanted Milo Yiannopoulos, whatever,
Yeah,
to marshal the straight pride parade,
I heard
Yeah.
that too.
which is ironic.
Well, it's because they wanted, in order to lend their cause some legitimacy, they wanted to take a privileged gay voice that could come in and be like, hey, you guys, let's celebrate these straights. And of course, Milo Yiannopoulos, scrambling for relevancy as he is, would probably, or perhaps has already probably jumped at the opportunity.
It's so funny to me. So funny to me that you can feel so marginalized when literally everything is about you.
I know, but they have to but they've started putting the gays in commercials now, and so we have to stand up for ourselves. Obviously, we're being oppressed because we only make up like 80% of the people who are shown in romantic commercials instead of 100% now.
And that's the other thing that gets me. The very sight of people that are not like you is a threat to you. Like that's what just blows my mind.
Seeing a family with two dads or two moms on television just leads to more families with two dads and two moms. And guess what? Families there aren't anymore after that. Families with one dad and one mom. The straight families. It's genocide.
Right. It's slippery slope. That's what they say in law school. Slippery slope.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they say that other places too.
Those commercials are just step one in the gay agenda to kill all the straights.
Yeah. By existing.
Yeah, by existing publicly and confusing children with their being openly loving of one another.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in the meantime, I've pulled up Resist Marxism's webpage.
Ew.
Their mission statement on the front of the mobile version of the webpage is defend the Constitution against violent extremists and the regressive left. And then they have several buzzwords just like floating around underneath it. None of them are clickable. They aren't links.
Jesus Christ.
They're just words.
They're just, yeah. I mean, it has social media, and I'm pretty sure that's either that's a link or it's just, yeah, okay, because it's got like links to the Twitter and stuff underneath that. But immediately underneath social media, the words social media, but before it gets to their Facebook, it just says Constitution, nationalism, tradition, liberty, free speech, America first.
Free speech.
I love the fact, I'll just say, I love the fact that all you have to do to get these people riled up is to literally throw words at them. Doesn't matter how those words are used. As long as you use the correct words, they're like putty in your hands.
I mean, I get riled up when certain words are said myself. I feel like that's almost a little bit just how words work.
Yeah, but usually words have context.
Yeah.
These
Yeah, true.
these people they seem to lack context.
Well, because they don't need context.
They're the normal ones. They don't have to justify their, or they don't have to explain their existence. They're the default. And that's why they're oppressed. Nobody's picking the defaults anymore when they boot up the character creator.
That is true. I do not. I got like when I play video games, I don't like playing as the main protagonist. Like I'm not gonna play as Mario. I'd rather play as Luigi.
Yeah.
Fuck Goku. Like no one wants the standard because that's boring.
Be Piccolo. He's a better father figure.
And for actual straight people that aren't like doing this piece of shit bullshit. Like I'm not saying this is not a like attack or anything. I'm not making fun. Well, I'm making fun, but not making fun of you specifically. I'm like half straight, so it works.
I'm making fun of you specifically.
But yeah, but I
Every
don't.
straight person, be ashamed. Because that's my gay agenda. That's what the straight pride rally is all about. How I'm trying to oppress the hell out of you. And you know what? They're right.
Oh yeah, it's almost like what they want. They want you to hold. They want you to hold them down and oppress them. Oppress me so hard, Daddy. Wait, sorry, what?
No, that's a different kind of rally, I'm pretty sure.
You'd be surprised at the crossover.
No, I would not be surprised at the crossover. It's fine. But yeah, like, I don't think first off, anybody who's paying attention to what's going on in this country right now should not be surprised that the leader of this group that's trying to organize straight pride is also a white nationalist. Like, we should not be surprised by that. But also, any pretense they had of saying, no, this is not about white nationalism, this is about straight pride, was pretty much blown out of the water when they tapped Milo to be the fucking marshal, because yes, he is a gay man who is, I don't know if he's exactly the kind of gay man who would say, but the straights need to be defended, right?
He's a pick-me.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say he's a pick-me.
Yeah, right. But also, he's a white nationalist.
Yeah.
And like the choice, like there are other people who would stand up and say, like, there are other gay people, visible gay people, who would stand up and say, okay, like, let's defend some straights, right? There are other people who would do that, who are not white nationalists, I think, or who are not vocal white nationalists. But the choice of Milo was intentional. There's no possible way that it was not intentional. And these are clearly two heads of the same dragon.
Right, because it's all part of like white nationalism. Like they've tied being heterosexual into what it means to be a real to be a quote unquote real man, and thus only real men are white. So it's got to be tied back. It's like it's all part of the same.
I mean, that's not even new though. If you look at fucking recruitment flyers from the Klan, like back in the day, they specify like no blacks, no Jews, no queers.
I mean, you don't even have to go to the Klan. I mean, look at actual literal fucking Nazis.
Yeah.
They killed certain people for certain reasons,
which included not being German enough, not being vocal enough in your support of the NSDAP,
Mhm.
not being straight, not being fully physically, like, not being not disabled, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Being a papist. That's my favorite one.
Being in support of the Pope?
Yeah.
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 Oh, man.
There were thousands, like tens of thousands of Catholics imprisoned in concentration camps also.
Oh yeah. I would say the Klan fucking hates Catholics.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, of course, it should be mentioned many, many, many of the people rounded up were Jewish.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
That part should never be erased.
Well, that part will, like, I mean, there's a whole narrative behind that, but it's also like important to realize that, man, the Holocaust included a whole bunch of people.
Yeah, honestly.
'Cause
I mean, like,
I will say on an educational note, I think that's something that's left out in talking about the Holocaust and like the atrocities of Nazi Germany, is that it wasn't just Jewish people. They were like I don't want to say decimated because I'm not using that word correctly, but like they were by far the most heavily affected demographic, no doubt. Like there is no argument there, but there's a lack of education on the fact that a lot of other people were also thrown into concentration camps
for various different reasons.
for various reasons.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
not acknowledging and not teaching that fact allows for the erasure of a lot of what the Nazis were standing for, right?
Right.
It keeps us from looking at an accurate picture of what Nazi ideology was.
They imprisoned not just Jewish people for being Jewish, but gay people, I imagine, definitely trans people.
Yeah.
They burned down the Institute for, was it sexual research or something like
Yeah,
that?
I forget exactly what the name of it was, but it was the single largest collection of sexual research that existed in the world
At the time.
like progressive sexual research. And,
Yeah, like,
and destroyed
it had-
it. The only documents that they did not destroy were the records of people who had come to that institute for treatment, who then they used those lists to start rounding people up to imprison.
Yeah, so yeah. They also imprisoned Romani people. They took political prisoners, Catholics, like
Yeah, pretty much anybody who wasn't
Anyway,
anybody who wasn't a Nazi.
Which also, like, relevant to topic, you guys have heard about the police escorted Nazi march through an already planned Pride parade, right?
Oh yes,
In Detroit.
In Detroit.
Yeah.
First of all, two things I got a problem with here. What the fuck is a neo-Nazi white supremacist rally happening in Detroit? There are way too many black folks in Detroit for them to pull that to try to pull
but
that shit.
apparently there are way too many queers in Detroit too, and they just had to do something about it.
Yeah.
Fuck. And see, that's another reason. That's why they also fuck the police, if that isn't very clear. But second reason why they needed a police escort, because you gonna pull that shit around a bunch of black people and a bunch of like queer people in Detroit.
Yeah. But like,
What?
I can't help but wonder what kind of a logistic situation was going on at the police department and at City Hall surrounding that. Like, I imagine that the Pride event had like all the permits and everything, like was doing their whole thing correctly in the eyes of the state. And then what, like neo-Nazis come in and they're like, we're organizing a counter protest that's going to literally run through this protest you've already approved. And we need a police escort. And like,
I feel
at
like
that
it,
point,
I
the
feel like
decision to do it is clearly favoring neo-Nazis over
I
a gay pride event.
I feel like what happened was probably the neo-Nazis went, hey, well, we want to come do this counter protest. Let us do it. And it was just like, hey, I don't know, like that maybe not a good idea. Oh, where you're going to interfere with our free speech because we have the right to do this. So give us the permits and give us the permits so we can do it.
Yeah.
I almost feel like even that amount of resistance was not put up. I feel like it's a little optimistic to assume it was.
I didn't say like, no, you can't do it. It was probably like, rather you didn't.
But freeze peach.
Yeah.
Them damn freeze peaches
Yep.
get you every time.
Which is funny because I actually really like frozen peaches.
I could see how they'd be a delicious treat.
Little known constitutional fact: it's a mistranslation of the Constitution that it's free speech. It is actually freeze peaches.
We
Noted.
have the right to a freeze peach.
Yeah, because I mean the founding fathers were really into peach sorbet.
Yum.
Mm.
Have to go
Anyway,
get some sorbet. We are way off topic.
Yeah, we are a ways off topic from Pride. But yeah, basically, we wanted to segue all of this into just talking about what Pride is, why we need it, why it's important,
So
why straight Pride doesn't really.
it's absolute
like,
bullshit. Don't
You've never had obstacles in your way preventing you from having pride in yourself and your sexuality, so maybe can it.
So fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Also, another side note, man, Pride parades are fucking fun. There are usually street festivals where all this shit is, and there's a lot of good music and just a lot of fucking happy people around.
Daytime drag looks, people throwing condoms at you.
Like if you're such a fucking hateful curmudgeon that you can't go out and enjoy a fucking street festival,
Especially one that's filled with rainbows.
Yeah, tons of rainbows.
Sorry.
All kinds of different multicolored flags representing all the identities. You can walk up to somebody holding a flag, ask them what it stands for, and they can choose not to answer you if they wish because they're just trying to have fun. But you could learn a lot by going to a Pride parade and just talking to people.
It's important for like visibility, and it's also fucking fun. Like, you curmudgeon grumpy bastards.
Yeah.
Trust me, a straight Pride parade is not going to be that fucking fun.
No,
It's
it's
true.
going to be like,
The food
I don't know. I almost feel like it's going to be a handful of white dudes just like goose stepping down the street,
Wearing khakis.
probably wearing khakis.
And polo shirts.
Ugh.
Whether or not they'll break out the tiki torches this time, I do not know.
Ugh.
It would be very festive, though.
I mean, look, I'm gonna throw this out. I'm gonna throw this out here to all the straight Pride people, and hell, I'll even throw it out here to the white supremacists who, I mean, let's just be real. You're all the same people. You know, if you want to be more attractive and not look like a piece of shit, have some fun. Have some fun. Give us some balloon animals. You just don't have a very fun agenda. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
okay,
like, come on, man. Monogamy and missionary sex. Where's your Dionysian spirit? Why you gotta be so Apollonian
That's not fair. That's not fair. Lots of gay people are
to
also
the monogamous? Yeah, I know. I'm just throwing stuff out.
Also, missionary sex can be really fun when done right. As long as
Yes,
it's not
if you are actually like
good at sex.
Here's the thing.
Oh
though.
boy, now I
It's
feel.
it's like a cheeseburger. Cheeseburgers are great, but a plain cheeseburger is great. But if you have a festival, you're not just going to give out just plain cheeseburgers the whole time.
Are we giving out sex at the pride rallies now?
No. It's what I'm saying. That's not what I meant. It's just that, like, it's good, but sometimes other people want other things.
Yeah.
That are
Good, but like, maybe at least think about trying other things. Make sure that your favorite is your favorite for a reason and not just because it's the only thing you do.
Yeah. Or the thing that God says really you have to do.
Yeah.
And don't be shitty to other people because they like other things.
Yeah. That's the real kicker.
Which brings me back to what I said earlier as the theme for the episode. Stay in your goddamn lane.
Yeah. So for the record, I'm gonna hate on everybody who is doing straight things just because it's Pride Month. It doesn't fly. It's illegal to be straight during Pride Month.
No, here's the thing. It's the same way I make fun of white people all the time.
What? You make fun of white people all the time?
Oh my God, it's a revelation. No, same reason I make fun of white people all the time. Like, I don't dislike you, and even the stuff I make fun of, it's not like hateful or oppressive at all. But you get to be you 24/7, 7 days a week, and not have to worry about anything.
Yep.
Yeah. Don't have to worry about cops shooting you 20 times in the back.
Right.
Don't have to worry about some kind of rally going on where they denounce you and everything you stand for. You don't have to worry about. Well, actually, I don't know. You neo-Nazis, there are rallies going on denouncing everything you stand for.
I will go to a rally denouncing some neo-Nazi ideology.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. But see, at those rallies, the worst thing that can happen to a neo-Nazi is you might get punched, maybe.
You get a milkshake thrown on you.
Yeah, you get a milkshake thrown at you. Oh my gosh. Those far leftists at it again, throwing milkshakes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, I just figured it out.
What?
I figured out why they don't like the milkshakes. And it ties to straight pride shit. Because if you throw milkshakes on a neo-Nazi or a white supremast, then that'll
gonna attract the boys.
And then it'll be gay, and that's part of the gay agenda. I just figured it out.
And that's why Nigel Farage was so afraid to leave the bus.
Right, it's the milkshakes.
Not sure if I pronounced his name right.
Brooklyn Pride last week. Surprising amount. Surprisingly, there weren't many milkshakes at Brooklyn Pride last weekend.
Yeah, it could have attracted more boys.
Anyway, so
I personally prefer men.
I did want to bring something up. This is a conversation I had with a cousin of mine earlier, and it just kind of go along with people being bullshit. I think I told you guys about it.
Yeah.
But my cousin went on this whole thing about how men shouldn't wear dresses and how it's destroying the fabric of our society. And then my reply was, from a historical perspective, pants are one, pretty recent, and two, pretty European. And I gave examples. And his reply was, I don't care about history. In 2019, that's some fuckboy shit.
I don't think he knows what a fuckboy is.
It's a fuckboy thing?
he's in his like 40s, getting close to 50. He doesn't know how to use words correctly.
Okay.
Um,
Maybe at least look into some examples of use before. I mean, like, then again, I use words wrong all the time, so maybe I'm not one to talk.
So I go on to say, it's like, it's pretty interesting that you're standing up to defend your, especially because he does this before, he does all the time, defend your like masculinity and stuff, when those things are really not, it doesn't come from your culture at all. It comes from your oppressor's culture. So you're kind of defending white supremacy here.
I mean, certainly not directly, but
not directly, of course.
Definitely,
But
you are defending some of the.
You're defending ethnocentrism.
Certainly that. I was gonna say, like, he's defending the byproducts of white supremacy.
The reply was, I must just want to wear a dress. And motherfucker, I would rock a dress if I wanted to.
You should show up to Christmas in a dress.
I should. I'd rather rock a kilt though. I've been wanting to get a kilt. So
I mean, like, to him, it probably wouldn't make a difference.
Oh, it wouldn't make a difference. No. And then he posted a picture of, it was these kids going to prom, and it was a guy in a dress and a girl in a suit.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, well, what do you have to say about this? And I was like,
I hope they had a nice night.
Like, it looks like those kids are enjoying themselves. And it seems like the only ones crying about it are the people who are having a problem with it. And my final thing was, for people who are always constantly saying that people should stay in their own lane and let people like mind their own business and this and that, you certainly, when it comes to anything that you perceive as not straight, you certainly never mind your own fucking business.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot of whining and complaining from the people who like to paint the opposition as a bunch of whiners and complainers.
Right. And see, and that's what gets me about like the straight pride bullshit, and people who are, because I've had to deal with, in my Black Nerds group, love that group. Group's awesome. Had to deal with a lot of fucking homophobes and kicking them out because they went on these stupid homophobic rants about why there shouldn't be pride and this and that. And all I keep thinking is, it's none of your fucking business.
Yeah.
It's got nothing to do with you. Move along.
Move along. It's not hurting you. It's not affecting your life. It may close off the street that you need to get down. That's the only way it's affecting your life. You can go around as a fucking detour. But
yeah. Just like you do for every parade.
Like, it is not affecting your life. Mind your own motherfucking business. I don't see why people don't get that. Why do people existing, why do other people enjoying themselves that are not you?
Beauty tip.
Piss
loosen
you
up
off so much.
I don't know, man.
And this goes along with all this stuff around pride, because like I didn't figure we would go through the history of pride because we've done that before.
Yeah.
But it reminds me. Have you guys heard about the Black Mirror season that just came out?
No, I have not.
Nope.
Well, spoilers here. I'm not gonna get full episode spoilers, but there is an episode where these two straight friends kind of begin a virtual affair via a video game.
Mm-hmm.
And it plays with like ideas of like monogamy and sexuality and this and that, and like in a virtual realm and this and that. Now I have my own
these
problems.
And those.
It's a pretty good episode. I have my own narrative problems with it. because I'm a bit of a movie snob.
Yeah.
Just
But it's especially with it being Pride Month, it's caused a lot of like question, especially amongst Black people, because this is a like Black centered episode
Mm-hmm.
about what is gay and what is straight. Because the question became, because the avatars that these guys were not physically having sex. They were using VR headsets and they were playing characters in a video game. And those characters were defined man and woman. But the two people behind the characters
We're both
were
men.
not. Were both men. And the characters were having sex in the game. So the question, so it threw a lot of people off, especially people like straight people, mostly,
Mm-hmm.
because now they have to contemplate different stuff, because they thought they had an understanding of what gay and straight was.
oh, God forbid a straight person have to think in depth about sexuality. What?
Yeah,
It's-
usually we're the ones that are required to do that when you choose to experiment with us.
It's Jesus.
I mean, like, yeah.
Yeah.
So like that's been it's been super interesting watching that unfold, at least to me, because I've been finding it hilarious. And it's also got a lot of straight dudes looking at their like male friends who play female characters in video games real strange now. It's kind of hilarious.
But nah, dude, it's just, I've got to be looking at this character's butt all day. I might as well have it be a lady butt.
I mean, fair.
I mean, that is the justification I always hear, and it sounds like a relatively solid justification,
Oh,
but
yeah,
now
no.
that's going to get trotted out a whole lot more because apparently people are questioning about why straight men are playing ladies.
Right. I just thought it's hilarious that showed up like right at the beginning, and it's probably strategic. But that episode dropped right at the beginning of Pride
Yeah.
when all these conversations were happening, and it's like that's ridiculous. It's wild. Is there anything else you guys want to touch on?
Pride started as a riot. No cops at Pride. At least,
Yeah.
like, I don't know. If a cop wants to come to Pride as a gay man or as a gay woman or as any flavor of queer person, they can do so in plain clothes.
The rule should this rule goes out like to my friends who are police officers, because I don't fuck with police. The rules for my house should go follow for Pride. As soon as you step foot at Pride or step foot at my door, you are no longer a police officer. You leave that shit at home.
Or rather,
And
you leave it in the office.
Yeah,
Hopefully you don't
right.
take it with you
Don't take it.
home like 40% of police officers do.
Yeah.
But you leave that shit at home. If you're still a cop out at Pride, even if you are like celebrating yourself or whatever, if you're still in your mind a cop, you need to go home.
You have no business being there.
Right. You need to leave.
Yes.
Because as
Because
soon
it
as
started
you put out there,
with a riot against police brutality. We should carry on that spirit, and honestly, there should be more rioting.
there
just
should
in
be
general.
more right. I'm just saying, you can get bricks pretty fucking cheap.
True.
You don't even get bricks on the street. What are you talking about?
I'm saying,
Find a wall that's falling down.
right, winging it, motherfuckers. Anything else?
I don't
Have
think so.
fun.
Yeah.
Have fun
Have
at Pride.
fun. Be safe.
Love yourself. Love all your other queer folks. All the queer folks, period. Aces belong at Pride. Arrows belong at Pride.
I actually want to say something like personally.
Yeah.
Like I said, like no one listening to this will like it doesn't matter because nobody actually in my personal life is probably listening to this and who doesn't already know stuff. But with it being Pride and all, and wondering, because people often tend to wonder why someone who certainly appears straight most times would be so vocal at this moment. Currently, I do identify as queer because I am in relationships with people who don't identify as women.
Mm-hmm.
And I will date people who don't identify as women. I will date a spectrum of people. And I think it's important for me to actually say that out loud to people for them to understand.
Yeah.
Because people seem to very much still tend to get confused.
Yeah.
I mean, it's confusing. You're straight, but you're not straight, but you're straight, but you're not straight.
Oh, my favorite thing is, so you're gay? No, not gay. So you're
Okay,
straight.
but it's only the two choices. Either you only like cis men or you only like cis women.
Those are not the only two choices.
They're the only two choices.
There's a bunch of different people out there. Like not into cis men. Like that's not my thing. But there are a myriad of other varieties of people that are my thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, people, there you go. If you wanted to know, there you go. There's your answers. I know you're not going to watch this or listen to this, so whatever. I may have said there's no one, but go ahead.
I mean, I'm watching and listening.
Fair.
Yeah.
I just want to get that out there, considering.
Yeah.
And even if I didn't have any stake in the conversation, I still would be vocal because you're supposed to stick up for people.
Yep.
People who traditionally don't have anyone to stick up for them but themselves. Be a fucking ally. Be a good
goddamn person.
Fucking person.
Yeah. Give a good goddamn.
Right.
Be a person.
It's not hurting you. Do something. Anyway, with that, we're going to go on into the sex segment.
Yep. Just remember, oppress a straight person near you.
Yes.
Do it today.
Jesus fucking Christ. All right. And with that note, we're going to move into the sex segment. After some music, enjoy.
I want it all. Tell me your flaws. Don't hide them all. Side of your wall. See, you may be blue. There's different colors, shades, and hues. There's beauty all inside of you. What's there to lose? See, I got my feelings locked up too. No, I can't ever undo the past. I can't be the person who you really want back. See, no one is perfect, but I like to think that I'm worth it. Listen, girl, give me a chance to tell you how I really feel. Can't look me in the eyes and tell me this isn't real. How about you give me a chance to tell me how you really feel? How you feel? Got haters, fakers everywhere we go, and they act like they already know you, but you're blue. These fake ass bitches ain't got time to look past the bigger pictures. The picture of you, the moment of truth, when you finally availed your youth. See, I want it all. Tell me your flaws, don't hide them all inside of your walls. See, you may be blue, there's different colors, shades and hues that make up the beauty inside of you. I got my feelings locked up too. No, I can't ever undo the past. No, I can't be the person who you really want back. No, I can't really do that. Listen, girl, give me a chance to tell you how I really feel. I can't get my eyes off you. Is this real? I can't get my eyes off you. I can't get my eyes off you. Give me a chance to tell me how you feel. Can't look me in the eyes and tell me this isn't real. Can't get my eyes off you. I can't get my eyes off you. How about you tell me how you really feel? See, I want it all. I want your flaws. I want to break down all of your walls. See, I want it all. Yeah, I want it all. I want your flaws.
And welcome everyone to the sex segment, where today we're going to be talking just a little bit about polyamory. Yay!
Yay!
Woo!
I'm sure it is no secret to anybody who has been listening for any amount of time, but I am polyamorous, Keem is polyamorous, Ari is polyamorous?
Yeah, doing the solo poly thing.
Yes, Ari is polyamorous. We are all polyamorous. So what is polyamory, y'all?
That means you love multiple people.
Right.
It means you have various types of weapons in your arsenal.
That's polyamory, Ari.
Oh, man.
But yeah, so polyamory is a relationship style where you are open to having loving, committed relationships with more than one person, as opposed to monogamy, which is you are only open to a loving, committed relationship with a single person, which is widely considered normal in our like heterocentric, Christian-centric society.
Though historically and culturally, it's not actually very normal. Kind of an outlier. But go on.
Yes. But it has been considered normal for the last several hundred years in European society and European-centric societies like America, whatever. But so I wanted to just do, for those of you who don't know about polyamory or who might be confused about some of these terms that we use when we talk about polyamory, like Ari just used the term solo poly, which I also identify as solo poly. We're going to want to talk about a little bit what these definitions are and like what that means and what that looks like and how is that different from just being single. Like,
yeah.
You mind if I start out with like 3 definitions that honestly have come up with to me in the past week that I think will be a good starting point.
Yeah.
So we said what polyamory is.
Yes.
That is different from polygamy.
Yes, that is definitely.
Polygamy means that you are married or seeking marriage to more than one person.
Yes.
With that being said, under the umbrella of polygamy, there is polygyny, which is usually one man and multiple wives.
In
And
fact,
there's
no, polygyny, which I'm
polygyny.
sure I'm not saying that right, is by definition multiple
Right.
women.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
And
that's what the GYN means,
right.
Yeah.
And polyandry is
which is way less common.
Yes.
way less common,
Significantly less common.
right? But it does exist, and that
Multiple
is
husbands.
multiple husbands.
Yes. Yeah, and a lot of people who are polyamorous, even if they are looking to be married to their partners, like even if that is a goal of theirs, do kind of shy away from the term polygamy
Right,
because
'cause
of the association with the FLDS church and the
Right.
Mormons and
Because-
coercive multiple marriages and et cetera,
Right.
et cetera.
It has a very much like it has a stigma, and
Yeah.
and when most people think of polygamy, they think of polygyny.
Yeah.
So, but there is a difference, which is important to know.
Yes.
Next
So
up.
I think the next one that I wanted to address was solo poly, which again, not the same as being single.
Right.
Yeah.
Solo poly or solo polyamory is a relationship style where I have heard it explained a lot of different ways. The way that it looks like in my life, like I said, I identify as solo poly, and what that means for me is that I am a free agent, right? I am in charge of making the decisions for me. And that can be really hard sometimes to say to my partners, like, I am making a choice that is going to affect your life. Like, it's going to affect what our relationship is. But this is a choice that I'm making on my own.
So, can I add in a more general sense, solo poly is typically used for someone who is usually living on their own. They don't have any any primary partners.
Well, that's the definition of solo poly, is that you don't
Right.
have primary partners.
Also, they usually also don't tend to fall under the relationship escalator.
Well,
which
no.
is a
Yeah, no, I think I would argue that by being polyamorous at all, you're off the relationship escalator, because the relationship escalator is like shorthand for the expected timeline of things. Like, you meet, you date, you have sex, you get engaged, or you move in together, you get engaged, you get married, you have kids, et cetera, and you get on and you just kind of like ride that thing and don't really question where it is that you're going. Right, and there's not really any options.
See, but it's not totally true that poly people do not actually do the relationship escalator. There are some people that actually do.
Well, but see, my point is that by being poly, you're questioning at every stage, like, if that's the right choice, rather than just doing it because that's what you do. Right.
Okay.
It's like polyamory is less like the relationship escalator and more like
It's
the
more like a
relationship staircase. Right? Like, you're going the same place. You just have to decide at every point, like, if that's how, like, you're more intentional about getting there.
See, I was gonna say elevator, because you have to push, like, you push the button to decide where the relationship is going.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyway.
I don't know if I identify as solo poly, just because of, one, they're also planning a communal living thing, and two, I haven't thrown out the idea of marriage in the future.
So I would say that I do not at all think of you, like, this is just my perspective, I don't think of you as solo poly at all, because you do pretty frequently talk about how you do kind of want to get married and you do want to have kids someday, and like, you are looking for, or you would like to have a relationship that will lead to that, and that's kind of not what solo poly is.
Right.
But I
But
mean,
that does,
these are all
but
fluid definitions, and you get to
yeah.
decide for yourself what all these things mean, right?
And
Like,
also, let's be clear. That doesn't mean I want to be monogamous at all.
yeah, but it
Uh,
does mean that you want a more formal, like, type of relationship that is going to lead to a relationship where you are making decisions as a partnership, like where you are in that type of relationship.
what other terms that?
So one that I wanted to point out, there's a couple others that we've used over the course of this conversation. So nesting partner is basically just what it sounds like, where you have a partner that you are building a household with, right? Like you live with them and you live together.
Right.
And often that's like a paired nest, like you and one other person. But I have heard it referred to as like people who have 2 or 3 people living, or like 3 or 4 people living in the same place. They call themselves nesting partners if they are all in some kind of relationship, or what have you. Like these are all fluid definitions, and you can use them in the way that feels appropriate for you. But nesting partner means that it's somebody that you live with,
Right.
and that's
So,
all that is.
so someone you built a nest with.
Yes, exactly. We've used the term primary partner, and primary partner is a term used by people who do relationship hierarchy, which I learned like very early on is something that I have it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I don't like relationship hierarchy. But so primary partner, and then by definition, secondary, and I've even heard like tertiary partners are the people who, like, that's the priority that you place upon those relationships. So like your primary partner is often, but not necessarily, a nesting partner. And primary partner is usually like a person that you make decisions with that person, right? Like if you're going to move to a new city, the 2 of you sit down and move and like talk about it, right? If you want to change jobs, like you would sit down and talk about how that's going to affect your situation, blah, blah, blah. Its primary partner is a lot more like what is considered normal for relationships, right? Like a monogamous relationship is a lot like what a primary partnership looks like, just logistically. And often that has to do, like I said, with it's a nesting partnership, or you have kids together, or for whatever reason, that relationship needs to be considered first before thinking about how these things will affect other relationships that you have.
Right.
So there's a primary partnership, and then secondary partnership. Obviously, like that's then like the next tier of partners. Like after you've figured stuff out with your primary partner, then you talk to your secondary partners about what's going on and how that's going to affect, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
So I have a question. What's
yes.
relationship?
Relationship anarchy is pretty close to what I do, which is you intentionally refuse to place a hierarchy or place any previously existing structure on the relationships that you have. And this doesn't refer, like, real, true, like, relationship anarchy. This doesn't refer just to people that you're romantically involved with. This is every person in your life. You allow that relationship, the dynamic between the 2 of you, is the only consideration in defining what that relationship is. Like, you are not trying to fit. It's like the radical rejection of any kind of label or box that already exists. Your only concern in defining your relationship is yourself and the person that you're in that relationship with. And like I lean that way, but I am not dogmatic about it. But I do pretty strongly want to, in as much as possible in my life, like define every relationship that I have with people without expectation imposed on it from the outside.
I am very. I at least try to be very much a relationship anarchist.
Yeah. It's it's difficult. It's a difficult way to
Right.
go about it because like labels and boxes exist for a reason. It's because they make our lives easier, right? Like it's easier to explain to other people what the relationship is if it has a box that it fits into. It's less mentally it's less mentally taxing to be able to pick a box for it and put it in that box. But also I feel that it's a less authentic way of having a relationship where you are relying on shorthand and assumptions to interact with each other instead of allowing authentic interactions to happen.
I have another term that comes up a lot in discussions of polyamory. What's a unicorn?
Oh, that was what I was going to get to next.
Oh boy.
So unicorn. So I actually have run across some discussions about this lately, where unicorn, some people think that it means any, like if a couple is looking for another person to be in a relationship with, like any permutation of like a triad like that, somebody is a unicorn. But I don't think that that's necessarily true. Because a unicorn is a mythical creature, right? Like healthy triads exist all over the place. It's perfectly fine to have a relationship, or like three people in relationships with each other of various permutations.
Or a throuple, as the
I
cool
hate that
people
word.
call it.
I hate that word. Just call it a fucking triad. It makes way more sense. Also, I would argue that throuple, which I hate that word, is a very specific kind of triad, right? Like a triad is just any permutation of three people who are in a relationship. Like you could have the closed triad, which is what a throuple would be, where all three people are all in relationships with each other. Or you can have an open triad where two of the people are in relationship with another, with the same person, but not in a relationship with each other. Still a triad. Right? Still three people involved. But I would say that a unicorn is a very specific kind of thing, and it is almost exclusively heterosexual couples who have been in a relationship for a while, have decided they want to try out this polyamory thing, and then think that the most equitable way to do that is to go out and find somebody, usually another woman, who will automatically be in a relationship with both of them, and the relationship with both of the people in this couple will somehow be equal, right? To where and there's all sorts of weird expectations, like the person that they bring in will feel the same way about both people, which first off, that's impossible to feel exactly the same way about two unique individual people. But like where this person will feel the same way about both of them, will have sex with both of them equally. Or we'll have sex with them only when all three of them are together, right? Will not have will not have individual relationships with each person in the couple.
Another big one is they're often not supposed to have any relationships outside of the couple.
Right, like you are here for us, and so you can't have your own relationships. But also. Unicorns are not supposed to have needs, right? Like they don't get to put quote unquote demands on the people in the couple.
The relationship.
They don't. Yeah, they don't get to put demands on the relationship. They don't get to have feelings about things that happen.
They exist purely as a horn. They exist as an extension of the previous relationship.
Yeah, exactly. And also, if you are in a couple and you've decided that monogamy is no longer the right choice for the two of you in your relationship, and you want to start dating other people, I have another vocabulary word for you that you need to sit down and take a real hard look at. Couple privilege. Yes.
Oh, you used the bad word. We're not supposed to say privilege.
We're not supposed to say privilege. But no, so couple privilege though is the term that we use to talk about all of the myriad unspoken assumptions that come with this culture of monogamy that we have, that make it really, really difficult to have authentic polyamorous relationships, right? And that can be anything from you first off, like, opening up your relationship, right? Like, the assumption that you're opening up your relationship, or you're spicing up your relationship, or what have you, like, that all of that language prioritizes your existing relationship over any new thing that you are going to now try to build with other people. Couple privilege can show up as like prioritizing time with your existing partner over time with your new partners. Like, maybe you have a weekly date night with your partner already, but then you don't want to like set up a date night with a regular standing date night with your new partners. It can show up as prioritizing the feelings of your existing partner over the feelings of your new partners. Like, especially, like, I've heard a lot, prioritizing the wants of your existing partner over the needs of your new partners, right? Like, there needs to be a discussion over, like, what is a want and what is a need, and how is it, and how are you going to show up for all of your partners when you are needed, right? Those are things that exist. Like, like I said, prioritizing the feelings of your existing partner over the feelings of your new partner, right? Canceling dates because your new partner or your existing partner is feeling X, Y, or Z, or blah blah blah, whatever. Couple privilege can also show up as the veto power. You guys know about veto
that's
power?
a bad one.
Veto power is a really bad one, where your existing partner or your nesting partner or your primary partner or what have you has the power to say, for whatever reason, you don't get to be in this relationship. They get to choose whether or not you get to be in a relationship with your other partner, right? Despite not actually being in that relationship, right? So,
Yeah.
Any other vocabulary words you think we need to touch on?
I'll just also say this actually ties into the last two, but OPP also comes up.
Oh, yes.
And OPP usually means one penis policy.
Yes.
And that's pretty
Nope.
that's pretty self-explanatory. Yeah. It can very rarely it happens, but it does happen. It can be, pardon my language because I hate this word, it can be one pussy policy. That does exist.
Yeah, but it's way less common.
Less common.
Because women are not as toxic about shit like that.
Yeah, that sounds like a bunch of toxic heterosexuality, and I'm not really here for it.
Also, OPP can have two separate meanings.
Yes.
It could be other people's penis or pussy in it.
Yeah, but that doesn't show up as often in conversations about polyamory.
No, it doesn't, but it shows up a lot in one of my favorite songs.
Yes, I know.
Naughty by Nature, 90s baby, 80s babies. Naughty by Nature. Right.
Anyway.
Oh, polycule.
Polycule.
Yep. A molecule of polyamorous persons.
Yeah. Right? Polycule is the group of people that you are connected to yourself or through your partners.
Right.
Yeah. So your paramours, your metamors.
Oh, that's another one. Metamor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Metamor is the person who's dating your partner.
Right.
Yeah. Partner of partner.
Yes.
Metamor.
But yeah, polycule is just your web.
Yes.
And for some people, your web can be a family.
Yeah, and there's whole other things that we could talk about with stuff, but I think that'll get us started.
But we should definitely do more discussions on poly very, very soon, because it is becoming more and more popular. even so much as I'm taking family law class right now, and it's coming to the conversation a lot more often, and really affecting the way people define families, and honestly, as it grows in as polyamory and different non-monogamous relationship styles become more normal and become more popular, people are going to need to be educated more on it.
Yeah.
Because it's going to affect how people interact with one another. It could even have an effect on how the law works.
Yeah.
So it's pretty important. And with that being said, we are going to end this show. Special thanks to our musical guests, and special thanks to all our lovely, lovely, lovely listeners. Hey guys, where can they find us?
Spreaker, Podcast Addict, iHeartRadio, Spotify,
and hopefully soon in other places. And where can you support us? Well, I'll go ahead and answer this one. You can support us at patreon.com/The Out of Horses Podcast. And with all that being said, this has been Keem, Esme, and Ari, and we are out.
But there are these things that matter, and they really fucking matter. There's like 4 things that matter, and they really fucking matter. I mean, objectively, I mean, you should care, especially you, if you thought about it for 5 fucking minutes.